And welcome back to a Standard Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jono, and I'm here to bring you the Thursday Night Football preview. The Steelers versus the Titans. Before we jump into the meat of the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification button so you get all the updates as we drop them daily. That being said, let's get into exactly what you guys came here for, and that was to hear our starts, sits, and sleepers for this Thursday Night Football matchup. Now, the Steelers are 2.5-point favorites here, and the over-under for this game is 36.5. If you can tell, that's going to be more of a flip of a coin, and in a way, I'd say a defensive matchup. So let's talk about the Titans' starts and sits and sleepers here. As you can see, Tannehill is not in again this week. Will Levis is getting the nod, so this will be his second official start. The rookie had a fantastic first game. He was 19 for 29 for 230 plus yards with a 65.5 completion percentage and 4 touchdowns. Yep, you heard that right, 4 touchdowns. 3 of them going to DeAndre Hopkins. The guy knew who he should throw the ball to. So we have Will Levis here as a sleeper this week. It's tough to tell if he'd fit into that top 12 options. We have some bye weeks this week, so that can give you a little bit of nod towards him. But you got to think about it this way. Do you have a guy on your staff that you trust a little bit more that is going to get you the points you need? Yes. Does Will Levis have a little bit higher floor based on what he's shown? Yeah, he could. But again, we've seen this time after time. I mean, look at Badgin's first game. He had a fantastic first game. Not as good as the 4 touchdowns that Levis had, but teams can figure it out. Teams can make these guys, put some pressure on them, make them throw the ball, change things differently. I think Atlanta played him a little bit soft, allowed him to pick them apart, not taking anything away from him. He had a great game, but I don't expect a 4 touchdown performance here. And if he does, shame on the Steelers, because the Steelers defense is actually pretty decent. Knowing that the Steelers are getting Cam Hayward back, I believe this is going to be maybe a tougher day for Derrick Henry. But the guy is still going to get it done. It's still Derrick Henry. I have him as a start. Tyjae Spears, we have a caution start here because last week he only had 6 total touches, 3 carries, and 3 receptions. If you look at the Tennessee Titans and the games that they are winning, Derrick Henry has touched the ball at least 20 times. The losses they've had, he's had low number of carries and receptions. There's a correlation there, people. So you got to like it. You got to hope that they ride with Derrick Henry as the main guy and Will Levis as a nice counterpiece against the Steelers defense. Believe me, they are going to throw the ball, which is why we have DeAndre Hopkins as a start here as well. I don't expect a 3 touchdown performance, and if you had sold high on him, fantastic, good for you. If you have not sold him yet and you're holding on to him expecting another performance, shame on you, because you got to expect that it's not going to be a repeat this week. It's a short week against a tough defense. I just don't like it. They're on the road in Pittsburgh, another tough place to win a ball game. To me, between Sunday and today was a time to sell high on DeAndre Hopkins and get something good for him. And lastly, this defense is a sleeper for me here too, because Pittsburgh's offense has been abysmal this season. They literally have not had an opportunity to score many points. They've relied on the foot of their kicker and big plays by George Pickens to really get themselves close to or in the end zone. However, they are starting to gain a little bit of momentum, but they're with Kenny Pickett coming off an injury. He's saying he's going to play. Seems like he had no restrictions at practice and no injury designation. He's going to be a go, and he is prone to interceptions, and he's prone to making mistakes. So I'd fire them up if you are in need of a streaming defense this week. So again, Will Levis, just back to him real quick. If you have another option, go ahead and use them. But if you are streaming a quarterback, you lost Kirk Cousins, you're taking a shot on this guy, you could feel comfortable. I think he's going to get the opportunities he needs. He's got a premier wide receiver there. He's got a good running back behind him. And I don't think the offensive coordinator and the coaches here are going to let him fail. It just may not be a touchdown performance. I'm thinking probably 2 touchdowns and a pick here for 250, 275 in yardage. And that's a fantastic day for a streaming quarterback for you. I like Derek Carr a little bit better if he's available in your leagues, but I know he's been taken up by a lot. So take a look at those guys. Gardner Minshew's another one that has a tough opportunity this week, and I may even bump Will Levis above Gardner Minshew just because it's a good rushing opportunity for the Colts. So let's head over to the Steelers. To me, the Steelers are a team kind of finding their identity a little bit more, and with Diontae Johnson back, they looked like they were able to move the ball a little bit better. They faced a tough Jags defense. The Titans defense has its weakness, and that's through the air, which is great because the Steelers have not been able to run the ball well all season. To me, that's not making me put a bump up on Kenny Pickett as a start. He had injury. He doesn't have a designation, doesn't mean he can't re-injure, or doesn't mean he can't be hurt and come out of the game early. Also, even when he's been in there, he hasn't been that effective as a fantasy quarterback. Najee Harris finally had a decent game last week, which put Jalen Warren on the back burner. But to me, neither one of these guys, until we start to see a better timeshare for Najee or for Warren, I trust either one of them. Najee, you need to get him close to the red zone for him to push one into the end zone. And Jalen Warren, he is good through the out the backfield, but with Diontae Johnson garnering 14 targets last week, you see a lot less out of Jalen Warren. So to me, Diontae Johnson, George Pickens are the two guys you're starting here. You're starting Pickens for the big play, and you're starting Diontae for the volume. Diontae Johnson was 8 for 85 last week on 14 targets. He missed a touchdown in the end zone from Pickett, which is good to see if you're a Johnson owner that Pickett was going to him. But a little bit of what we saw a lot of last year is a lot of red zone targets, not a touchdown to show from it. He did slip, and it was thrown behind him a little bit. If Pickett threw that right on him, would have been a touchdown. Great, fantastic week. From there, he still was 8 for 85. I expect big things from him this week here too. And then with Pickens, it's tough. We're back to that volatility that he was last year, where you're looking for the big play and the touchdown. His route tree went back to what we saw a lot of last year and earlier in the season. Last year, not much what we saw earlier in the season, where he did a lot more short yardage, some slant routes, some quick digs, some out routes that he was able to get separation early and let him do things with the ball afterwards. We went back to more of the downfield sideline throws, deep post plays, which he's still going to be good at. But at the end of the day, Diontae Johnson's the wide receiver one here. Connor Hayward was playing tight end with Freiermuth on the IR. He, I believe, had 5 receptions, 20-something, 30-something yards. He isn't a tight end streamer by any purpose here. I know we didn't talk about Chig on the other side. I don't like the tight ends in either one of these. I'd wait to see, especially with the point total of 36.5 over under. You're going to see little play from the tight ends and accompanying pieces, and probably more play from your big players here, which is who we're starting. If you have any questions, feel free, drop a comment on start sits, on trade questions, on anything regarding not only this Thursday night football game, but the rest of the weekend moving forward. We'd be happy to get back to you and get all the advice you need to win your leagues. So as always, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.